Let's just let that land. And let's take a few breaths together. First, let it all out. And take a deep breath in. And let it go. Another deep breath in. And let it go. One more together. Breathe in. And let it go. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Reverend Elisha Christopher. I'm the spiritual director here of this Center for Spiritual Living here in Santa Cruz. I do use they and them pronouns. My ancestors come to us from all over the world, some indigenous to the Americas. Those that we know immigrated here, we know came through Ireland, Scotland, Austria, and Holland. And it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Are you still feeling the glow up from last week and all of us raising the energy out there? Yeah. And then many of us, we brought in that context of Diwali last Sunday and that 5-day festival of lights celebrated by Hindus, Jains, Buddhists, and Sikhs all over the world. About a fifth of humanity celebrates the holiday of Diwali, if you think about it that way. And remember that the celebration of lights, the 5-day festival of Diwali, is really about celebrating the triumph of light over darkness, right? Of good over evil. And how useful of a context is that for us right now, right? It's important to remember that we have these opportunities, these celebrations, these rituals that we can engage in that allow us to remember that light, that allow us to remember the source of our being. And one thing I also want to just put into our awareness, that as of this year, I believe Governor Newsom signed an order that Diwali is actually a state holiday officially now as well. So, something worth celebrating. And, as I said last week, Diwali, this move into this time of year, really kind of marks for me the beginning of the holiday season. Because if you think about it, we have Samhain or Halloween coming up this for Friday, which, Samhain in pagan traditions is really that time when we acknowledge that the veil between the worlds is most thinnest. It's that time where we've peaked past the sort of midpoint of fall as we are moving towards winter solstice. And that's that time to acknowledge the ancestors. It's the time to acknowledge those who came before us, those whose legacy we carry, those who fought for our rights, those whose stories we carry, those who we are the result of. And to remember that there's a whole legacy, there's a whole lineage behind each one of us. And then Samhain is on Saturday, and then we have Dia de los Muertos right after that, right? To, again, if we look to the traditions of Mexico, looking at this opportunity to call in our ancestors, to name those who've come before us, to eat their favorite foods, to pull out the flowers and the candles, and to celebrate them, and to remember that those who we've loved are not gone. Right? Because one of the things that we know is that life is infinite, that we do continue beyond this particular form. And I think it's something worth celebrating and worth remembering, not only that we are infinite, but that those who we've loved are still available to us. That those who've passed on still have strength, still have wisdom, still have something to give us. And especially in times like ours, where we might need a little extra strength, we might need a little extra inspiration, we might need that extra remembrance that there's those who've gone before us, who've lived through times like we've lived through, who have surpassed it, who've risen above it, who've caused great change because of it, right? And so we need to remember that. And, I'm going to keep speaking to this over the next number of weeks and months as we go into the end of the year. Because we've just had Diwali, we now move into Samhain and Dia de los Muertos, and then we'll have Thanksgiving, and then we've got a slew of religious holidays in December, right? And all of them have to do with remembering the light. Remembering our eternality, remembering that light always wins over darkness, that the light always returns no matter how dark and cold it may become. And I want to invite us all to use this descent into darkness this year as an opportunity to remember the thing that we say here all the time, that each one of our job right now is to cultivate the light, is to cultivate and hold the light, to cultivate and hold the joy, to be in celebration regardless of what's happening out there. Right? Because that actually, friends, celebration, joy, light, love, these are the powers that we have on our side. Right? And that our job is to cultivate them so fiercely that they cannot be taken away, right? This joy that I have, the world didn't give to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give to me. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. Right? So that's our song, that's our chant, that's our truth that we need to carry through this time, is to remember to cultivate the joy, that it comes from inside of us, that it is eternal, that it is infinite, that there is nothing that can dampen it, there is nothing that can squash it, and there is no one and nothing outside of ourselves that can take it away. And I think it's very important for us to maybe tune into things that are eternal, that are changeless, and that cannot be taken. Because there are lots of things in our world that are temporary. There are lots of things in our world that are human constructs. There are lots of things in our world that are precious to all of us that are being taken away. So we have to cling to the things that cannot be taken away. Right? And we have to stand for the things that we believe are necessary for our life, for humanity, and for the planet to thrive. This is our job. And it's a great and tall order right now. And, this week's theme is really to just bring in the theme across Centers for Spiritual Living, is for us to just contemplate this idea of life and death, to contemplate the nature of our eternality. And also, I think it's important as a spiritual practice to get to the place of understanding our immortality is to contemplate our mortality. To contemplate the fact that each one of us is only here in these human bodies for a short little period of time. We might get 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years on this planet. It's a blink of an eye. And in the arc of human history, in the arc of creation, each one of us chose to be incarnated as these beings for this little blink of time on purpose. That we are all here for such a time as this, for this very moment. And, we all know the poem, right? What will you do with this one wild and precious life? Right? And I think it's a powerful practice for us to contemplate the fact that we are only here for a brief moment. Because if we recognize that our lives are these short little blinks in the mind of the infinite, and that these lives are purposeful, powerful, and necessary, then it means that each one of us came into this world for this little short time to do something, to be something, to bring something forward, to advance evolution, life, consciousness in some way. And we have this precious little amount of time. And I think that oftentimes it's very easy to think, we've got lots of time to do that thing I need to do, or to heal that wound, or to find that way of being in the world, or to finish that whatever it is. But we really don't. All we have is this moment. And this moment is this fleeting little thing that's always moving. What would we do if we truly believed and lived in such a way that we truly realized and remembered that we came into this world on purpose to be of an impact to the world and the people around us, and that every little moment we have is absolutely precious? And that when we're willing to be fully present in the present moment with each other, those little insignificant moments are eternal. When we're fully present, we expand the now. And the now becomes all that there is. And what would it look like for us to live in that place where we feel the urgency and the necessity of the now moment? There's a deep exhortation alive right now. And an exhortation is an urgency. It's a call. It's that thing that moves you. It's the fire under your buns that gets you moving. Right? And I know that there's some urgency. There's some flame burning underneath each one of us. There's some relationship we have to heal. There's some truth that we have to speak. There's some democracy we have to stand up for. There's something underneath us that is calling us to stand up right now. Every single one of us, there's somewhere that your consciousness, your presence in the now moment is needed. And I'm not talking about later today. I'm not talking about tomorrow. I'm not talking about next week or when you reach that certain moment in your life. I'm talking about right now. And what if we could use this now moment, this one, and then every other one after that, to say, if this moment is all that I have, how do I want to be? How do I want to live? How do I want to treat people? How do I want to hold what's happening in my heart? Because what if you just had this one moment to gift your essence to the world? How would you show up? Would you show up, do, be, say, think, or act any differently than you are right now? Any differently than you do in general? And so I think there's a big invitation for all of us. I know for myself, there's so much that I know that I came into this world to do, and there's so much that I keep thinking I'm going to do at some point. I'm sure you all have something you want to do at some point. But what if we bring it all back and really start to remember that today is the only day that we have? And especially in these moments, I think that level of urgency, that level of presence to the now moment, to the urgency of life itself, breathing itself through us, is especially urgent. I think it's the spiritual message that's always important, but especially when our world is changing, when our democracy is crumbling, when our nation is being moved in this direction that it's going, the urgency is a little more urgent. And so what do we do when the now moment is even that much more precious? And that we have to stand up, we have to act out, we have to be in it more than we've ever been before, because if we wait till tomorrow, the burden is that much more. And we are in this time right now where we, the people, have the opportunity to change the direction of this nation. And we want to make sure that we step up in the moment when we have the capacity to tip the scales. And I feel that the scales are tipping. I feel that the energy is rising. I feel that the people are coming together. We have to keep that momentum up. I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, I talked about how we're going to need that double portion of spirit to step up for the moment that we need to rise up into. And then the following week, we were hoping that 3.5% of the population would show up, and we got 7% of the Santa Cruz population. Remember when we called in a double portion of spirit, and then it showed up? Remember? So that's what I'm talking about. We call in the higher truth. We call in the principle. We call in the energy. We stand for it. We become it. We step into it, and then we watch it manifest. And then it inspires us. It lifts us up so that we then carry the energy forward and keep going. You feel it? Right? Yeah. So there's each one of us truly are here in this world, in this moment, with purpose, on purpose, for a purpose. And even if you don't know what that is necessarily, if you don't know, I know what my purpose is. Sometimes I know what my purpose is. But when we show up, when we are fully present, the truth shows up. Who we're meant to be shows up. And part of it has to come from this awareness that there's more of us. We are more than we know that we are. There is a power inside of us greater than we can comprehend. There is a life within us that is absolutely infinite, and yet it is expressing here as each one of us for a little while. And there's something unique to each one of us that Spirit is expressing into the world and through us for the world that can only happen as each one of us. There's something precious about the unique individualization that we come here to be. And I really want us to breathe into this a little bit deeper and remember that we truly are infinite beings, that we truly are eternal. That this power that I call God, that is breathing the entirety of the universe and unfolding as all of creation, is breathing each one of our bodies. And to feel ourselves being breathed. And to ponder for just a moment that just as each one of us breathes in and breathes out, and we call that a breath, that the universe itself breathes in and breathes out, and we call that a lifetime. That each one of us is a single breath of God being breathed into the world, each one necessary, each one perfect, each one needed. And that the uniqueness of who you are is exactly what the world needs from you right now. Let's take a breath. And breathe again. And let's just drop in. And I really just want to take a moment and connect with that breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And I want to invite each one of us to just stay in that rhythm, paying attention to the breathing. Noticing the breathing in, and then observing, noticing the exhale and the release. And as we breathe, I want to invite each of us to remember that we are being breathed, that our hearts are being beat, our bodies are being breathed. We are not consciously not consciously making this happen. We can consciously take control of the breath for a moment. But there is something greater. There's a life force, there's a power, there's a spark, there's a presence that is breathing our bodies. And so as we feel into that breath, I want us to remember that there is only one life. That there is one being who is breathing in and out of all of existence. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Throughout all of humanity, throughout all of the living beings on the planet. Shining the stars, spiraling the galaxies, evolving throughout all of time. One life, one power, one energy. And imagine that infinite being, living and breathing and evolving, shifting and changing for billions of years at a time, has breathed itself into existence as each one of us. That each person in this room is 14 billion years of existence and more, channeled into the uniqueness of who you are. That all of time, that all of eternity has been preparing for you to be here in this world, in this moment. And so realize and breathe and remember the thousands of generations that it took for each one of us to get here. For the millions and the billions of years of evolution of life on earth that it took for each one of us to get here. To remember that we have been born into this world on purpose, that each one of us has been uniquely crafted by the life of the universe itself to be here in this moment, in this time. And so our call is to then be fully present, be here now. To remember that these wild and precious human lives are the gifts that we came here to share with the world. And it just so happens that the urgency of this nation is calling upon that even more in this moment. That the uniqueness, that the individuality, that the love, that the light, that the joy that we are is needed in this moment. That we were handcrafted by God for this moment and sent to the world. There is no Savior outside of us who is coming. We are the ones the world has been waiting for. We are the ones. We are the peacemakers we are looking for. We are the truth speakers we are looking for. We are the light. And so it is from that place of remembering that I invite us into gratitude for this space, for the Resource Center for Nonviolence and all the good work that they do. I give thanks for this community of CSL Santa Cruz, for the who that we are about, for the opportunity and the freedom that we still have to come together every Sunday and be reminded that we, each one of us, are the light of God. We get to come into this space each and every week and be reminded of the truth of who we are. And that is a blessing, that is a gift, that is a joyous freedom that we have, that I am grateful for. And so let us surrender wholly and completely to this very moment of now. Not just to this single moment, but to this expanded moment. Realizing that each one of us was birthed here and brought here for such a time as this. And so the time is now for us to light the way, to bring the joy, to live in celebration, and to fight the good fight, and to let the love win. Because we remember that the light always outshines the darkness. For God, for love is all that there is. And we bring it forward in everything that we do. And so it is.